Greetings, fellow Airsoft nerds. Slava Paul Hong. Make sure you check out the event that I have coming up in Orville. That's Operation Yellow Rocks. It's basically a gold mining corporation versus a local militia. It's going to be up in Orville. It's going to be lots of fun. But getting into this, we're going to talk about sort of the lore, I guess, of the Milsim West militia. I always recommend players go militia if it's their first Milsim West event because it's the easiest faction basically to get stuff for because it has the least restrictive equipment regulations and like gear regs and stuff like that. It's the easiest class to plan for, if that makes sense. Now, depending on the event, militia is either usually their own independent faction or their own independent fighting force with like their own command structure and stuff, or they get mixed in with Rus 4. So, for example, the Azeri Assault that was in October, there were, I believe, 2 companies of militia because I was one of the company XOs for militia. And then the Kharkiv we just did in February in Clovis, there was only Rus 4. But within Rus 4, there was the actual Rus 4 players with militia players. So, like, you could be in a platoon that had militia and Rus 4 dudes in the same squad. So, really, at that point, it's just a matter of, like, what do you want to wear? I'm really going to be going over 2 things. One is what the actual TACSOP definitions and requirements are for militia. And then the other one is constantly being discussed online, which is more of like the lore, I guess, of militia, or generally the expectations that players have if you're militia, which is really just the written rule versus the spirit of the rule. That's really what we're talking about. Keep in mind, I've only been to California-based Milsim events, and from what I've been told, California and the West Coast in general is very pro-Russia, pro-militia, and anti-NATO, whereas on the East Coast, everyone is like super pro-NATO, and no one really wants to be Rus 4 militia, from what I've been told. That's the general vibe, at least. Per the TACSOP, militia can wear Woodland BDU or Woodland M81, OD green, or any Russian camouflage. For gear, any chest rig is okay, but if you're going to wear body armor, it can't be NATO style. So you can't be a militia person and wear like an IOTV. You would have to wear something like the Russian, the Emerald Defender. Cold or wet weather gear, you can wear OD green, BDU, black, and I think that's it. And obviously any of the Russian camouflages. If you're a militia, you can mix and match your tops and bottoms. So let's say you're NATO and you're wearing multicam. You can't wear a multicam top and then like tan pants. You would have to wear a multicam top and bottom. The tops and bottoms have to match. Same thing with Rus 4. You can't just wear a like a partisan top and then like I don't know, like bean pants. You're not allowed to do that. For your uniform, your daily uniform. We're not talking about like you put a jacket on over your uniform. We're talking about like it's a beautiful spring sunny day out and this is what you're wearing. Militia can use any gun, M4, 8K. One dude was using a Tommy gun in October. That was fucking cool. But any high-speed attachments like high-speed optics or crazy lasers and all that stuff is discouraged. It's allowed per TACSOP, but it's highly discouraged. So, per the TACSOP, a militia player can wear like an old school BDU top, like a Woodland BDU top, and then green cargo pants. But now we're going to get into like the spirit of militia, and if you're doing that, probably not going to make a whole lot of friends. Because if you're wearing a militia loadout that doesn't have like a rhyme or reason to it, no one's really going to want to be your friend because Milsim West players are really gatekeepy, and they're not always the most new player friendly in some circles. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I'll be real, if you jump on that Milsim West general interest group for Facebook, they kind of eat people alive, which is kind of part of the lore, I guess. Is there a valid argument in defining militia as literally anything because a militia person is just an armed citizen? Yeah, so in keeping with that definition, You're just wearing normal clothes with a gun and whatever, magazines in your pocket. Look what homies were wearing back in like Iraq in the early 2000s that were militia. They were just clothes, rifle, go. Militia. Yeah, but that's a real world practical definition of militia. So, but for this, we're really looking at like Milsim lore, Milsim meta definitions of militia. Again, written rule, spirit of the rule. I'll go over some of the common militia character classes or like impressionist kits that I've personally seen, or that I'll see online or that I'll see guys putting together. And when I say classes, I really mean like an impressionist kit or like a category or a genre or a rhyme or reason that someone has when they go, I want to wear this uniform, I want to use this gear, and I want to use this rifle because I want this general vibe for when I play. For like US style militia, you really only see like 70s and 80s era Vietnam and Grenada style kits. Vietnam is usually OD green with like an old school LBV with like, the pistol belt, the canteens and stuff like that. Sometimes dudes will wear like a American flag headband or kind of some, basically what you would usually see like in the movies and Platoon and stuff like that. If you're a real G, you're gonna rock an M4 with the triangle handguards like the SEMA makes one like that. Really sick looking, really great internals by the way. The Grenada era, or Grenada, I don't know, from the 1980s is usually like full woodland BDU with typically the same gear as the Vietnam era because they were still using, for the most part, that same gear in the 70s and 80s. They didn't really change their gear a whole lot. Again, we're talking about a specific impression, a specific rhyme, reason, or vibe on what you're throwing together. So it would look weird if you were to like try and say you were doing a Vietnam era kit, but you're using like a fucking combat machine. Like that doesn't really go together. Now it's not wrong per the rules. You're not going to get ejected. But when guys go, oh, what are you doing for your kit? And you go, oh, I'm going for like a Vietnam era vibe. And they're like, is it a combat machine? Is that a Lancer Gen 3? What are you doing? Okay, yeah, good luck. I'm gonna go over here now. From what I've seen, those Vietnam and Grenada are usually the only U.S. Style impressionist kits that you're going to see running for the militia side. Everything else is usually like Russian, Ukrainian, generic Slavic, stuff like that. Probably the most popular one that I've seen is the Scav loadout, the Scav militia character. I would assume it's popular because of how popular Tarkov is. And a lot of Milsim West players play Tarkov. So they just go, oh, just throw this random shit together, fucking Scav loadout, right? So that's like random clothes, or like an AK, but they took the dust cover off, kind of a thing. And it's usually pretty, and they're just like acting like silly, drunk Russians, just yelling obscenities everywhere. That's like your Scav militia style. It's really just like poor man's Rust 4. So it'll be like some sort of civilian top and Russian pants, which I've done before. It's also the easiest one to do. So if you saw what I was wearing at the Azeri Assault in October when I was in Militia XO, I had my Russian partisan pants, my mortar attack pants that I always wear, and it's just like a hat or a beanie or whatever, and then a blue Adidas track jacket, and then I just had like a Haley chest rig and my AK. Happy as a clam with that. And sometimes I would also rock my helmet. I'll talk about high-speed gear in a second, but I would also rock my Wendy because that's what I was using for GoPro footage most of the time. Scav is like the easy, generic way to do things. There's Gopnik, which is like those, the tracksuit, the head-to-toe tracksuit, or like the camouflage tracksuit, and the Slav squats, and like the big, the hats or whatever. You don't usually see those at a whole lot of places. I saw a few of those at the Assault in October. I personally haven't seen a whole lot of Gopnik loadout, like traditional Gopnik, like straight up tracksuit jacket and pants. Usually it's just kind of like the jacket and then pants, and then like Rust 4 pants, which is what I do. But you really don't see a lot of Gopnik loadouts that I've seen at Milsim West, I've seen them honestly more at fields, at weekend fields than anything else. Here's my personal recommendations and what I personally advise. If you can avoid it, try not to bring an M4 because that might be one of the fastest ways to get friendly fired. If you're in a group of dudes with AKs, you should be okay. Or if you're in like a loadout that's clearly not NATO. So if you wanted to rock an M4 and like a blue track, like an Adidas jacket, yeah, bro, there's no way you can reasonably be confused daytime or nighttime. There's no way anyone's gonna mistake you for NATO if you're wearing like a blue track jacket with white stripes down the side and you're rocking an M4. Unless that guy's a fucking idiot, but welcome to Airsoft. Don't be a woodland Chad. These are the dudes that show up like super Gucci, Cry Precision, combat shirt, and Cry Precision, BDU, M81 God's plaid pants, Spiritus chest rig, right? Gucci'd out helmet with all the fancy ass accessories, Gucci M4. It doesn't, I could still use all my accessories, bro. It just says it's frowned upon, so I'm fucking gonna, right? No one likes those guys because it violates the spirit of what the militia is supposed to be. Again, you can do it. No one's gonna fucking like you. Everyone's gonna troll you online. I'm not saying don't rock OD green or don't rock God's plaid. I'm saying if you want to be fucking high speed, bro, go Rust 4 or go NATO. Stop being lazy. Again, the spirit of militia is low budget, semi-untrained civilians that are not well organized and not well equipped. So it doesn't make sense for you to be Gucci'd the fuck out as a militia person. Look at what you wear and use for a normal weekend at a field, all right? Don't bring that. Do something different and have fun. If you're worried about cost and money, I'm telling you right now, don't go to Milsim West. Tickets are about $175 to $250 depending on when you buy them. Then there's travel. So if you're going to a California event, you're probably, depending on where you live, you're going to drive anywhere between 2 to 6 hours. I usually drive about 6 hours to Victorville because I'm in the Sacramento area. I drove about 4 hours to Clovis, again, Sacramento area. So that's just one way. So that's gas. And I drive a truck. Then you got to get all your camping gear, got to get your sleeping bag, your food, how are you going to cook your food, all your sustainment stuff so you don't freeze your dick off at night. If it's going to rain, you got to bring fucking rain gear. Milsim West is not for poors. There's 3 places I would recommend for buying militia gear. And it's not in any order because I understand that not all places are going to have access to some of this. First place you really want to go, honestly, is a local surplus store. Those guys always have the best, cheapest shit. Fucking MA God's plaid is everywhere in those places. And you can usually get like a woodland uniform set for 20 to 30 bucks used. Great. Don't show up with new stuff. It looks weird. Show up like with used stuff so it has like some wear into it and it sort of blends in a little bit better. Don't go with new stuff, bro. Or if you bought it new, roll around in the dirt a little bit, run it over with your car a couple times, make it look like it's been worn before. Amped Airsoft has sick deals on Rust 4 stuff because I think they have a Gray Shop account because that's where I got my Smersh and my tank tops and my blue striped shirts from. I bought them all from Amped. Or you could go straight to the source and go to Gray Shop. Now, all the Rust 4 guys be like, Gray Shop is for poor. So Gray Shop makes really cool repro stuff. So if you want to do like a very specific Russian Impressionist kit, most guys at that level are looking for actually used and issued shit, not fake like costume stuff. Gray Shop is fine. I bought all my uniforms from Gray Shop. I bought some shirts from there. I bought some gear from them. Gray Shop's always done me well. They have great prices, and I don't think I've usually had to wait any longer than 2 weeks. Dude, Gray Shop is kicking, man. Go there. That's it. That's really just like a crash course in how to not look like a fuckboy as a militia person at a Milsim West. I love you guys. I hope I'll see you at the next event. I'll be going to Insurgency, so I love you guys.
Caber, who the f*** are you, nerd?